Good morning and welcome to the Diabetes Nerd podcast. I am your host, Ginger VIEIRA. I have lived with type 1 diabetes for about 25 years. And with me today is Naomi Garlic, who also lives with type 1 and is the creator of truly the yummiest, fast-acting glucose product I think I've ever had. When I popped one of these in my mouth at the ADA conference, I was like, what? What is this? Hi, Naomi.
Hi, thank you for saying that, and thank you for having me. I'm glad you
Yeah.
like them so much. A lot of people have that reaction because I think you like go into it expecting the worst or just being super skeptical
Yes.
about another glucose supplement.
You
So I've
expect it
I've
to be
been happy.
gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I love watching like the first reactions at
Oh,
conferences and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, my best friend was standing right next to me, and I was like, oh my God, that's so good. And then she's like, you should get some. And I was like, I don't know if I could handle having
Yeah,
access to these. And I know I'd
yeah.
get over it. Eventually, I'd treat my loads properly. But I was like, and then I got like, you had a sample, and then I was low like 20 minutes later. And
Hmm.
she had a sample in her pocket, and I had the sample. And she was like, use it. And I used it. And yes, it did work,
Yeah.
obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, the
So,
most important part.
yes. I How long have you had type 1, first of all?
I've had type 1 for 20 years. I was
Okay.
diagnosed at 12 years old.
Okay. I was diagnosed at 13.
Okay.
Was your diagnosis wild and eventful or pretty typical?
So it was probably a little strange. I guess they're all a little strange in their own way, but
Yeah.
I was in seventh grade and we just had a normal health class, and for about a week or so I've been experiencing like the typical symptoms like frequent urination, really thirsty, headaches, weight loss, that kind of stuff, but it hadn't been too long. And then in health class, they were doing just a quick little like 15-minute session on common conditions, diseases, whatever, of people our age. And type 1 diabetes was like up on the screen for like 30 seconds. And I was like miraculously actually paying attention. I was like, wait a second, like go back to that slide. And then I went home and I told my mom I had type 1 diabetes, and she was
Naomi,
like,
this is so much like my diagnosis. It's freaking
really?
me out.
Wait, that's
Yes.
crazy.
This is like
That's so
nearly
funny.
okay. Wait, so continue. How'd your mom respond?
She was just like, "What? You're so dramatic. Like, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "No, I look. These are my symptoms. Like, go, let's figure this out." And then she took me to like my doctor the next day. They tested my blood sugar, and they were like, "Yeah, we really don't know what else this could be, but we're going to send you to Children's Hospital." I was in Boston, which is where they like officially diagnosed me, and then I did like a week in the hospital and all of that. But it was just, yeah, it was sort of a self-diagnosis, which was funny. Wait, so you had the same similar
Yeah, but
experience?
in the seventh grade health fair, like
Oh yeah.
we were in science class creating our posters for the seventh grade health fair, and my classmates was on type 1 or diabetes
Oh.
in general. And
Mm-hmm.
his poster pretty much all it said was the symptoms. And I was like, I have that, I have that, I have that, I have that.
Yeah.
And I went home, told my parents. My mom was like, only old people get that. And then like a
Yeah.
week later I started crying
Yeah.
and then go to the doctor and yeah, self diagnosis.
Yeah. That's
That's
so
so
funny.
funny. But also
Yeah.
like
Well,
the health
I,
fit class type thing
I
too.
was gonna say like important to keep those health classes, keep that lesson in health class, I guess, because
Yeah.
it's at
I've
least had
never
two
met
success.
anyone else
Yeah,
whose
me neither.
story was
That's
like
so
that.
funny.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
And I
Okay.
remember
Um
my cat had had diabetes, type 2, and that was my only reference point because no one in our family had type 1 diabetes or any
mhm.
form of diabetes. So I just remember being like, we give him a shot every day. Like, what is going to happen to me? Like, what does this mean? And then,
Oh,
obviously life changed after
yeah.
that. But it was just
Yeah.
funny that that was my only point of reference outside of health class.
That's so crazy. That reminds me I actually need a teeny smidge
Yeah, go
of
for it.
Novolog. I'm going to take it right now. I'm taking like half a unit because I don't eat breakfast and my blood sugar is going to
Mm,
start rising
yeah.
because I skipped breakfast. So, okay. Now, how the heck does a person even start to think about creating their own glucose gummy?
Yeah.
And wait, we didn't even tell people the name of your product. Glow Gummies. Glow
Yeah.
Gummies.
Glow
GLOW.
gummies.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you
And the
get
name,
started? Yeah.
um, yeah, so, well, just quickly on the name, because I got a lot of questions like, do they glow? Like all this stuff.
Oh.
And I named it Glow because I wanted something that's sort of discreet. Because when I was first diagnosed, and I don't know about you, but I didn't want things that had like, I have diabetes like
Oh.
written all over the place, or just
Mm.
like feeling like other in that
Yeah.
sense. I wanted
Yeah.
people to be able to be more discreet if they wanted to, or
Mm-hmm.
not. And so the name Glow is for when you go low, like glow, if you say it quickly,
Oh.
but it also could mean, just like happy, bright, glowing. So I
Yeah.
wanted it to kind of be a little nod to the type 1 community, but not like
Mm.
overly in your face.
Yeah.
But
And not
anyway,
feel
so
super medical and clinical.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
But so the way I started with the gummies was, to be honest, I never thought I would make my own company. Like I'm not a person who was always like, I have to be an entrepreneur, I have to go out and do this. Like I just need an idea. I worked in finance before this, and I worked in finance for 10 years, and I was always sort of different, I would say, because it's a very male dominated industry, and I would sort of be the only woman in the room most of the time. And then I
Oh.
started feeling more and more like I was sticking out if I had like a bag of Skittles in a meeting. And I was like, I don't need another thing to sort of set me apart. And I
Mm.
was like, I wish there was something that, was healthier than candy, that was quicker to eat than glucose tablets. Like I didn't like how dry and chalky they were, and they sort of slowed me down.
Yeah.
And I sort of just had like the idea, I was like, surely there's a gummy that exists that can do this. And so I started looking for glucose gummies, and I found some on Amazon. But when I ordered them and started trying to use them, they weren't bringing my blood sugar up at all without eating like half of the bottle, like 30 gummies. And then when I looked into the ingredients more, I saw that there was really no glucose or dextrose in the gummies at all. And it's like very
Oh.
false advertising. So watch
Yeah.
out for that, on Amazon specifically. But
Yeah.
there's like an asterisk on the back of the nutrition label that says half a gram of glucose in 2 gummies. So
Well,
you
and
basically
let's
have to eat a ton.
yeah, let's for anybody who isn't aware, here's
Hmm.
a quick breakdown on why it's important to use. And I don't
Yes.
always. I mean, I use Sour Patch Kids in the middle of the night. I don't I don't
Hmm.
have always dextrose right next to me,
Right.
and I have not stocked up yet on a massive supply of Glow Gummies. I'll be honest. I need to do that. I need to place like a bulk order, but I bought some at ADA, but
Hmm.
I've used them all up. They're so good. But dextrose, also referred to as glucose, is
Hmm.
chemically identical to the sugar in your bloodstream. And sucrose is white sugar. Sucrose is half fructose, half dextrose. So that
Hmm.
can be a little faster. But the problem with fructose is that it has to be processed by your liver first. It takes
Right.
longer to hit your bloodstream. And then, of course, anybody should know you don't want to treat lows with anything that has a bunch of fat and protein in it because it's going to slow down and delay. So it's like a
Hmm.
Hershey's bar. I don't know how many times I've had like new people in my life be like, why don't you just use a Hershey's bar? Here, I have a Hershey's bar. And like, here's a Snickers. And like, that's the worst way to
Yeah.
treat a low.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
if you're listening and you have not learned that science, that's why it's important to use dextrose. And there are
Hmm.
candies that contain pure
Hmm.
dextrose. There are all the old school chalky ones like Smarties and
Hmm.
Fun Dip and Bottle Caps,
Hmm.
Nerds.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that about nerds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yes, exactly. But that, and it is so important to, for rebound highs, because if you don't know that piece of information, you tend to overeat, or you don't see your blood sugar going up, so you keep eating the candy. You keep like,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not the right type of sugar, if you don't see it in the first, whatever minutes,
Yeah.
you're scared. You're like, I'm going low, I need to eat more. And then you deal with like the rebound highs hours later, and the roller coaster and all of that.
Yeah.
So I find that treating with the right source of the dextrose, and having exactly what you need, and waiting like the 15
Yeah. A
minutes,
measurable
and then
amount. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted it to be made with dextrose, obviously, and I wanted that to
Yeah.
be the main source of the carb, the first ingredient, like to have that impact. And then I launched a survey before I did anything of around 100 people with type 1. And I asked them, what are your pain points with low blood sugar treatments? And what would you like to see in like a perfect solution? And then I sort of tried to like go down that list and solve each one. So after just like the fast acting nature of the gummy, I would say like the most popular pain points for people were it being unhealthy and like what you said about the candy having other things in it like fat or artificial additives, red dye, all of that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
my gummies are very allergy friendly. They're vegan, gluten-free, fat-free, sodium-free, caffeine-free, all the frees. And then they're also all natural ingredients. So there's no red dye in there at all. It's naturally colored, naturally flavored, no artificial additives, which have been really important for people and I think is really important and something that we shouldn't have to sacrifice when we're trying to get a low blood sugar, treatment. So that was one thing. And then the texture of the gummies, which you probably saw at ADA, is very soft. Like
It's
they're not harsh on
amazing.
your teeth. Thank you.
No,
I
and they don't
appreciate
stick
that.
to your teeth. It's
They
like
don't
you
stick to your
can
teeth.
chew it if you want to, but it also melts in your mouth. And that's like a big,
Exactly.
it's an important part of treating a low because there's some lows where it's like, I do not want to have to chomp on something gross and chalky. I don't want a bunch of
Exactly.
stuff stuck in my teeth. You just
Yeah.
want it to go in and just be done.
Totally, exactly. And especially like in the middle of the night, you don't want to have to like, work
No.
hard to eat something and then have it linger on your teeth. And if you don't want to brush your
Yeah.
teeth in the middle of the night, like you want to just be able to pass out again.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, like Skittles, treating a low
yeah,
with Skittles or Swedish Fish, or even Sour Patch Kids, which I have next to my bed right
right.
now. It's so bad for your teeth and also
Yeah,
it's just so annoying.
right. Exactly. So I wanted something that sort of like dissolves in your mouth, light chew, doesn't stick to your teeth, and like hits all of those points, which these gummies definitely have done for
They
people.
do. I mean, that is the first. I think that's a big part
Yeah.
of the flavors. Obviously, the flavor is amazing, but the texture is like, oh, what is
Mm-hmm.
this?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that was the next thing, and then it being convenient, portable, and different packaging options to fit your lifestyle. So we have like a bottle of 60 that you can sort of like keep at home, and then we also have the on-the-go bags that are resealable. There's 12
Okay.
gummies per bag, and people love this option. I would say like the variety pack of bags is my best seller by far because you get to try all the flavors, you can have it on the go, and then go from there. So I wanted something that was, easy to take with you in whatever format. And the nice thing about the gummies is that they don't melt in the heat. They withstand temperatures up to
Really?
170 degrees because it's made with
Whoa.
pectin.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're really heat resistant, very shelf stable. And
okay.
the ADA actually bought gummies for all their summer camps this summer. So
Awesome.
it's
Congrats.
like, oh, thank you. And
That's
it's
huge.
perfect for that because it obviously the kids love them,
Yeah.
and this in the summer, like they don't have to worry about them melting or sticking together. And they're going to Arizona in the
Yeah.
middle of August, so I'm excited
Yeah. I
for
mean,
that.
that's really important. People don't, like, non diabetics don't realize, like, how hard it
Hmm.
is to. I have trouble keeping glucose sources in my car.
Hmm. Exactly.
Right, and then when I do finally need it, which is rare that I need it in my car, like it's just not a common place for me to be having a low,
Hmm.
and and then I go and I grab it and it's like a fruit snacks thing or a bag of Swedish Fish, and it's just a blob of melted
Right.
goo, and it's so
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh,
exactly.
I think I'd rather have a seizure than try to eat this. It's like this is so gross.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted it to be something that literally for that exact, like when I was talking to manufacturers, I was like painting that exact picture. Like I want to be able to leave this in a hot car for days and it be okay to eat
Cool.
and all of that.
So I
So
picture you like standing over your stove, like making weird concoctions. Is that not how a person goes about inventing their own glucose powder
I
or
actually
products?
that actually is how it started out, like very,
Okay.
very early. And then I realized it's actually like extremely hard to make a real gummy. Like in your own kitchen, you need like
Okay.
real equipment for that. But
Yeah.
I took a gummy tasting class, which was
Oh.
interesting. And I actually learned a lot about like the different types of like gelling agents. So mine is with pectin,
Mm.
which gives it all of these nice features of being soft and
Yeah.
vegan and heat resistant. But there's also gelatin, which is like the most common really for
Yeah.
candies, which is like that
Yeah.
harder texture made from animal products, etc.
Yeah.
And then there's also starch. So anyway, but I
Oh,
took a
okay.
fun little gummy tasting class, which felt like I was in like a wine tasting class, but um, a bit different.
Nice.
And then I tried to use ChatGPT to ask it how I can make a gummy in my kitchen at home, and it wasn't. That's probably not where it thrives because it didn't end up working. But
Okay.
I reached I reached out to a ton of different manufacturers, gummy manufacturers, and it took me a long time to get the formula.
Okay.
Exactly the way I wanted it because it's surprisingly very hard to get dextrose into a gummy format with all the
Oh,
added features that I wanted. It took me about
yeah.
like 7 months.
Okay.
And we just filed a patent on the process and the formula itself because I do believe that there isn't any glucose gummy out there like that. But anyway, so it took me about around 7 months, and I found a great partner in a manufacturer who's, the food scientist of it all, and has really created something great with me. So it was a
Awesome.
process, but I officially launched in March of this year.
Okay.
And I've tried to just, spread the word on social media, donate to camps, and do different things here and there. Obviously, go to conferences, which is where I met you, and was able to speak to real people who use the products, get feedback.
Yeah.
I love the feedback of like, can you come out with this flavor or things like that. So I'm always
How
looking
many
for like the
flavors are
next
there?
thing.
Can you tell us about the
Yes.
flavors?
So right now there's three flavors, mixed berry, strawberry, and orange.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to continue to and they're all natural flavors.
Cool.
And I'm hoping to continue to sort of come out with new fun things um,
I
based
mean,
on
to
like
me, that's
customer
like, what
feedback.
more flavors would you need? It's
Yeah,
berry. Anything berry is really all I want. I don't
I know.
like anything that's pink or purple, or
Yeah,
red is like that's the flavor. But
yeah, exactly. I have
I
had
guess.
some like people ask for more adult flavors, like coffee or
Ugh.
yeah, I know it, but I'm like
Oh.
I don't know if that would appeal to everyone or
When
just
are you coming
very
out with a whiskey
specific.
one also? Like
Yeah, exactly.
adult flavors. I mean, come on. This is a sweet thing. It's gotta
Yeah,
be.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well,
Ugh.
I had an idea early on to come out with like a neutral flavor almost so that you
Mm,
don't like it too much and to help kind of,
right.
avoid the overeating aspect of things. But
Yeah.
I don't know who wants to do that. Like
Like
we
a
deserve something
clear,
tasty.
kind of
Yeah,
unflavored thing. I
exactly.
mean, that could have a purpose,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
I
Yeah.
plan to do like a broader poll or survey of customers and ask, see what the most popular direction
Yeah.
tends to be, and do that. But I always want to be doing like the next thing. I'm probably impatient in that way, but I hope to I hope to continue to kind of evolve it and come up with new things and hear from people and try and solve more pain points in the future.
What's the hardest part about running a glucose product business? Like you have a
Um,
great recipe. Who does all the they do the bottling and the selling, and what's the hardest part? I don't want to be
yeah.
Jason Bateman, he answers
Oh
his
my God,
questions
yes.
for the people on
I on
SmartList.
SmartList. That's my
I'm doing
favorite
that to you right
podcast.
now.
No,
Me
I love
too,
that.
but I hate his questions.
Yeah. And they're like, no, his questions are like 10 minutes long. And then like
Terrible.
he gets to the end and they're like, sorry, what are you asking
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Um, but I would say like I it's crazy, like Shopify and just like building a business today is so much easier than I was expecting it to be in terms of like
Okay.
pulling all I'm not saying at all that it's easy.
Yeah. No, no. I know
but
you've put in a lot of work, but yeah.
but there are a surprising amount of things you can do easily through different platforms and like apps and things like that. So my website's all hosted on Shopify, and then I sort of have like a direct link into my fulfillment center, which is also my manufacturer. So as soon as the gummies are made, bottled, packaged up, they sit at my fulfillment center, and then once someone places an order, it like immediately goes straight through to him, and he ships it out. So I'm not sitting in my apartment packaging up boxes anymore, which
Yeah.
is really nice.
Yeah.
Because that's literally a full-time job.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I just
But
picture you like counting
yeah,
two,
me like
three.
in
Yeah.
in the kitchen in like a lab coat, cooking up the
Yeah.
gummies and then shipping them out.
Yes. Filling the bottles.
Yeah, exactly. No, we've moved past that stage, but
Good.
so he's based in Cincinnati, Ohio, so all the gummies are shipped out of there. And I'm really a one person show at the moment, so it can definitely be overwhelming at times because not only am I, trying to market the product, think of the next thing like campaign I can do on social media. I'm also doing like all customer service. So if anyone has, a package that's delayed, the email they use goes directly to me. So I'm like,
Hmm.
there's so many different aspects to the business that take up, time and effort and are all
Yeah.
equally important. So that's sort of my biggest challenge at the moment is like balancing my time and making sure that I'm also like sleeping and eating and managing my own diabetes,
Yeah. Don't
which
let that go.
yeah, which is important.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the biggest challenge with like an actual glucose product itself, I honestly think is what we talked about a little bit at the beginning, more of like the educational piece of it all,
Mm.
where and to be totally like honest and transparent, before I started doing Glow, I didn't totally understand all those nuances with the different types of sugar, why it's so important to use dextrose, and what could happen, what are the different impacts on your body
Yeah.
and how that all translates into like blood sugar management and overall like health.
Yeah.
So I think sharing those like educational pieces with people without being preachy or like, coming across as like, hey, you're doing this wrong, I think is
Yeah.
like a
I
fine
mean, you
line.
right.
Yeah,
You can use whatever you want, but
right.
once you see the difference of like,
Yeah.
because I always, whenever I talk about that glucose science, I
Mm-hmm.
always get people who say, "Well, I like to use fig
Mm-hmm.
bars and I like to use apricots," and like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you can use whatever you want, but
Right.
if you conducted a little experiment and watched how long it takes for those apricots or Welch's gummies to actually treat
Right.
your blood sugar, what happens compared to using pure dextrose is a totally different thing on your CGM
Exactly.
graph. Yeah.
Exactly. Totally. So I think that's probably been the biggest challenge of just getting that word out, and having people, like trust it and try it, and then they see the results. So,
Yeah.
and it's funny because some people are like, message me and they're like, wow, I tried your gummies and I can't believe how quickly they work. Like, I only need to eat like two or three, and like my blood sugar is like immediately
I
back.
experienced that at ADA when I was
Yeah,
eating them too, because I was like, whoa. I was in a
right.
meeting actually, and I was like, whoa, these work. It was like,
Yeah,
and it was funny.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted it to be like you could eat just a couple and, be good to go. So I think people are very surprised when that is the case. And then I'll kind of share like why and maybe why that impact is happening and what the differences are between what they were using before. And they're like, wow, okay, like I wish I had known this before.
And how many
And
carbs are in each gummy? I forget.
there's 4 grams per gummy,
Okay, that's what I
because
thought.
I
So,
wanted
yeah.
them to be basically like as efficient as the glucose tablets. Like I didn't
Yeah.
want people to have to choose
Right.
between that. So that's why, like, depending on what system you're on and all the factors that go into how much carbs you need when you're low, which is also a lot that I learned through this process, but like your age, your gender, your body weight, like all these things impact
Mm-hmm.
how much you need, as well as just like, your insulin management systems. But
Yeah.
so most people like have always used the rule of thumb of 15 grams. And so that's why it's like 4 gummies would give you the 15. But if you need less than that, you can get 8 grams with just 2 gummies.
Yeah,
So
which honestly
it's
is sometimes all you need nowadays. Like
exactly.
we
Yeah.
needed 15 back when it was
Right.
NPH and regular insulin, and the low just went
Exactly.
on forever. And then my doctor would make me eat crackers with peanut butter after. Like it
Yep.
was like you couldn't
Me
just treat the
too.
low; you had to treat the later low that hadn't happened
Exactly.
yet. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's times have changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so I wanted it to be like you can break it up, you can dose it however you want, or however you need. Some people just eat like half of one. So, you know,
yeah.
you can make it what you need it to be.
Well, they're really yummy. I need to go restock my stash for sure. I'm going to do that right after this on your site. Where can everybody find you? Glowgummies.com?
Yes, exactly. Glowgummies.com. And on social media, I also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, which is glow__gummies. Had to
Okay.
get 2 underscores because
Mm,
other things were taken.
doesn't that suck? And
I
especially I
know.
hate it when you go to those other things and they haven't
And
posted in
there's
like 6
nothing.
years.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. Like there's a Glow Gummies that has 0 followers, following 0 people, 0 posts. And I was like, I messaged them. I was like, can I have this? And obviously no one responded. But
There's a diabetes nerd account from some guy that
mm,
hasn't posted in several years. I'm like,
did
can
you
I
try
have
messaging
this?
him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
response because he probably doesn't even have access to it anymore. It's like,
right, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Instagram should clean some of that up.
they should. I know. I think good
'Cause-
things have been taken. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I love it, Naomi, and I don't
thank
even know
you.
you, but I'm proud of you because I just know that that must have been really hard. I'm really impressed at anyone that can like create a product that's like both food and medicine and it tastes so good. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
So,
Yeah,
and
no, that
I
means
mean,
a
I
lot.
swear, I popped it into my mouth. I remember looking at my friend and being like, whoa, that's good. And she
Thank
knows
you.
that I hate glucose tabs. She actually,
Yeah.
when companies send me their glucose tabs, I give them to her. And because they're so gross, and she loves them. She loves sweet tarts, like
Okay.
she
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
Smarties, and I'll use Smarties because they are easy to sneak in your pocket and they don't melt or freeze. But I
hmm
hate them,
hmm
and so
Me
thank you
too.
for making something that's so yummy. And that's
Of course.
amazing that it doesn't melt because they're so soft. You would
Yeah.
think it would melt in a heartbeat.
No. Yeah. We tested them up to 170 degrees in the facility, and then in my kitchen, actually, I like put them in the oven, cranked it up to like 220, and they like were totally fine. So,
Mm. They
yeah, you
almost
can
have
test them at
the
home.
Yeah, yeah. They almost have a texture of like a homemade marshmallow mixed
hmm
with a gel type thing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get someone said Turkish delight, which I've actually never had a
Oh,
Turkish delight, but someone says the texture reminds them of that.
yeah.
And
A
there's
really
another one I
light Turkish delight though. Like
yeah.
what there's something about the glow gummies that they're solid, right? Like you hold
hmm
it, but they are so light.
Right. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And you
yeah.
can tell right away, like when you pick it up and just like touch it in your fingers or like squeeze it together, like you can see how soft it is and how it's
Yeah.
like yeah. The texture was
Well
something I
done.
worked really hard on. Thank
You
you.
nailed it. You nailed it.
Thank
The
you.
texture is
I
amazing.
appreciate
It's
that.
one of a kind. I don't think you have, like those, I remember way back in the day, I don't know if they still exist, but someone gave me, I worked in a gym and
Hmm.
someone gave me a bunch of those glucose block things that like marathon runners would use.
Oh yeah,
It's
like
like
Cliff Block.
BLOK
Oh yeah, yeah,
block something. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
remember the sugar part of the name, but they were
hmm
disgusting. I
Yeah,
was like, I think I'd rather die than eat this. It was just so
yeah,
gross. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
actually have a lot of runners, like people without type 1 or
Yeah.
that use these
I
and
bet.
like the bags specifically in their like running
Mm.
running sack or whatever.
Yeah. You should totally
So
market to that. that
Yeah, yeah,
audience.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be because it's also like all natural ingredients, and those people tend to be more health conscious as well. So
Yeah.
there's definitely some overlap there for sure.
Yeah. All right, glowgummies.com, everybody. Check it out. I promise you will love these things. They're so good. They're one of a kind. Congrats, Naomi. It's a pretty
Thank
cool
you
thing
so
to have
much.
invented. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, wait. And there's one more thing that we got to tell people. These are HSA and FSA eligible. Tell me how
Yes,
someone would go
yes,
about.
that's right. Yes, so for now, as you check out and get your receipt, you can just submit it for reimbursement with your insurance providers if that's a benefit that you have,
Okay.
and get money back that way. But we soon on our website will implement like right at checkout, so you can just use your card right there to buy them.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yes.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. All right. Naomi, congrats. Glowgummies.com. Great to meet you.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks for coming on and chatting.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It's great to meet you as well.
Bye.